It is April 19th, 2017. This is the Watchman News, and I'm Mike Callahan. I'm also on the wrong screen. Anyway, there is just a report that I ran across, and I thought it was important to get out. I've been saying over the past several weeks, it seems, that things aren't really normal as far as the rhetoric going back and forth between countries. There's always been bantering and soft threats, and in North Korea's case, sometimes a bit more harsh threats. But things have changed. The whole atmosphere, the environment of it all has changed. And in light of that, there's been information coming out here and there, and it would appear that Russia has unveiled a new base. So we'll go ahead and go to that, and I'll read the article. I'll leave the link down in the description, as always. It's titled, Russia Unveils Its New Arctic Military Base Housing Nuclear-Ready Warplanes and Reindeer-powered special forces as it seeks to claim the region's huge oil and gas reserves. Now, personally, I'm afraid of the reindeer special forces, you know. Rudolph gets revenge. It says, Russia has unveiled a new Arctic military base capable of housing 150 troops as well as nuclear-ready warplanes. The triangular complex, painted in the red, white, and blue of Russia's tricolor flag, has been built in the remote Alexandra land in the Franz Josef archipelago. While parts of the base remain top secret, military chiefs have offered a glimpse at the interior of the building. It comes as part of Russia's largest Arctic military push since the fall of the Soviet Union, and as Moscow moves to lay claim to the region's huge oil and gas reserves, believed to the worth as much as 23 million euros, I do believe that is. And there's quite a few pictures in this article, and we'll just kind of go through them. Looks like a heck of a base, though, I'll tell you that. There's a video there. You can go and watch the video, too. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description. The five-story complex, named Nagursky by Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, I know I said that wrong, is on the extreme north of Russia's Arctic frontier. It will hold 150 troops able to survive autonomously in sub-zero conditions for 18 months. Officials have said they may deploy military jets there, MiG-31 fighters designed to shoot down long-range bombers, or the Su-34, a frontline bomber, are seen as options, it has been reported. According to the Moscow Times, it also comes complete with a cinema, table tennis, and billiards rooms, while a military art studio is also planned. Earlier this year, it was reported that Moscow is starting to build nuclear icebreakers as it vies for dominance in the polar region with traditional rivals Canada and the United States and Norway, as well as newcomer China. More images of the equipment and the buildings and okay, let's see. Interviews with officials and military analysts and reviews of government documents showed Russia's buildup is the biggest since the 1991 Soviet fall and will, in some areas, give Moscow more military capabilities than the Soviet Union once had. The expansion has far-reaching financial and geopolitical ramifications. The Arctic is estimated to hold more hydrocarbon reserves than Saudi Arabia, and Moscow is putting down a serious military marker. Under President Vladimir Putin, Moscow is rushing to reopen abandoned Soviet military, air, and radar bases on the remote Arctic islands and to build new ones as it pushes ahead with a claim to almost 500,000 square miles of the Arctic. It regularly releases pictures of its troops training in white fatigues, wielding assault rifles as they zip along on sleighs pulled by reindeer. The Arctic, the U.S. Geological Survey estimates, holds oil and gas reserves equivalent to 412 billion barrels of oil, about 22% of the world's undiscovered oil and gas. Kind of an interesting design. There's some of the reindeer there in the sleigh. Okay, low oil prices and Western sanctions imposed over Moscow's actions in Ukraine mean new offshore Arctic projects have for now been mothballed, but the Kremlin is playing a longer game. It is building 3 nuclear icebreakers, including the world's largest, to bolster its fleet of around 40 breakers, 6 of which are nuclear. No other country has a nuclear breaker fleet used to clear channels for military and civilian ships. Russia's northern fleet, based near Murmansk in the Kola Bay's icy waters, is also due to get its own icebreaker, its first, and 2 ice-capable corvettes armed with cruise missiles. Under Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev and Russian President Boris Yeltsin, our Arctic border areas, were stripped bare, said Professor Pavel Makarovich. I need to give up these names. A member of the Russian Geographical Society. Now they are being restored. Told you there was tons of pictures, and I think that's the end of the article. Like I say, I will leave a link down in the description so you can go check this out, listen to the videos, take a better look at the pictures and whatnot. But I mean, with everything going on, you know, I have to ponder the idea of, you know, is the friction that we're having with Russia, you know, what level of this is involved in that, you know what I mean? I'm one that I always say, you know, because the first thing that comes out of a lot of people's mouths when you talk about war and all that, you know, all this stuff in the Middle East and all that, you know, a lot of people want to bring up oil, and I really don't think that's the, you know, the actual root of it. Not saying that it's not part of the equation, but I don't think it begins and ends with oil. I really don't believe that. And the reason being is because we have many, many other forms. We have much different technology than what we're used to seeing. Folks, the combustion engine is so outdated. It is so old. And even, you know, even going along the lines of, let's say, keeping the combustion engine, there's so many other ways to provide fuel for it. But the thing of it is this makes money, okay? But I don't think it's, I think there's enough oil to go around, so to speak. I think right here in this country, we've got plenty of oil to last us a long time. Scientists have done studies that say that the oil is replenishing itself, and that it's not very possible or not very likely that we would ever run out of oil because it replenishes itself fast enough. So I don't know, you know, that's, you know, how the studies go. You see one study, it says one thing, and another study says the total opposite. I'm not a scientist, and I didn't do the studies myself, but you know, I really don't think that all the wars begin and end with the oil, but you know, it could play a large factor in it. And I would say taking oil out of the equation of this, if you look at the bigger picture, this gives another military base to where they could launch an assault or defend against us assaulting them. So we'll keep an eye on it, and I would suggest everybody kind of pay attention to stories like this and news like this that comes out, because it's very, very telling.